Hello everyone. The topic for today is link reaction. The main purpose of aerobic respiration is to break down the respiratory substrate and to release more energy, and this happens in four steps. Glycolysis is the first step. Pyruvate, which is the end product of glycolysis, is the substrate for link reaction, which is the second step. Formation of pyruvate happens in the cytoplasm, whereas link reaction happens within mitochondria. So, this pyruvate has to be transported from cytoplasm into mitochondria, and this entry of pyruvate into mitochondria depends upon the availability of oxygen. If oxygen is not available, pyruvate remains in the cytoplasm and enters into the process of fermentation. If it is plant cell, it produces alcohol, and if it is animal cell, it produces preferentially lactic acid. Whether alcoholic fermentation or lactic acid fermentation, energy obtained is very less and is just 2 ATP molecules. In the presence of oxygen, pyruvate gains entry into the mitochondria. Link reaction and TCA cycle, these are the second and third steps of aerobic respiration, and they happen within the matrix of mitochondria. Electron transport chain, which is the fourth step of aerobic respiration, happens in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Only in the presence of oxygen, pyruvate can enter into mitochondria. Now we should know how it passes through the membranes of mitochondria. This line represents outer membrane, this represents inner membrane. The space between the two membranes represents intermembrane space. This region within the mitochondria represents matrix, and the region outside the mitochondria represents cytoplasm. Pyruvate diffuses freely through the outer membrane of mitochondria through channel formed by a transmembrane protein known as porin. But it can be transported only up to the intermembrane space. From the intermembrane space, pyruvate cannot easily enter into the matrix because inner membrane of mitochondria is impermeable to pyruvate. So, from the intermembrane space, through a protein known as pyruvate translocase, it is transported into the matrix by co-transport with a proton. When two substances are transported in the same direction through a transmembrane protein, we call it as symport. If the substances are transported in opposite direction, in such case we call it as antiport. So actually pyruvate transport with the proton is a symport because both of them are transported in the same direction and into the matrix. For this transport, two things are needed. One is proton and the other one is energy, because this is an active transport. Protons are available from the intermembrane space because they are concentrated by electron transport chain. And energy is obtained from the proton motive force that is developed because of this proton gradient. So, during pyruvate transportation, one proton enters, and this energy that is obtained from this proton transport provides energy for transport of pyruvate. After entering into the matrix, pyruvate enters into the link reaction. We call this as link reaction because acetyl-CoA, which is a product of link reaction, links glycolysis that happens in the cytoplasm with TCA cycle that happens inside mitochondria. This reaction is also known as gateway reaction of aerobic respiration. This is because glycolysis that is happening in the cytoplasm is an anaerobic process, whereas all the other three that happens within mitochondria are all aerobic. As pyruvate, which is the product of glycolysis, enters into the aerobic process only through the link reaction is known as gateway reaction of aerobic respiration. This reaction is also known as transition reaction because it is a transition between glycolysis and TCA cycle. Here you could see what actually happens to pyruvate when it enters into link reaction. Link reaction involves three intermediate stages and is catalyzed by an assembly of enzymes E1, E2 and E3. This is the structure of pyruvate: CH3, CO, COO-. Pyruvate is an anion of pyruvic acid which is formed after the removal of proton or hydrogen ion from the hydroxyl group of pyruvic acid. This pyruvate, when it enters into the link reaction, there is removal of carboxyl group. The carbon that is removed is released as carbon dioxide, and this process is known as decarboxylation. There is removal of electrons subsequently, which is also known as oxidation. So, this decarboxylation is also known as oxidative decarboxylation and is catalyzed by the enzyme E1. Now, after oxidative decarboxylation, the intermediate that is obtained is transferred to coenzyme A. Coenzymes are nothing but non-protein organic compounds that are essential for catalytic function of the enzyme. This coenzyme is known as coenzyme A because it is helpful in the transfer of acyl group. This is the acyl group where R represents alkyl group. The acyl group that is transferred during link reaction is an acetyl group. So, this acetyl group, after getting transferred to the coenzyme A, it results in the production of acetyl-CoA, which is a 2-carbon compound. In acetyl-CoA, can you see there is an acetyl group attached to the coenzyme A with the thioester bond? Now, the electrons that were removed during the process of oxidation with the help of enzyme 3, they are transferred to NAD+, which is an oxidized mobile electron carrier. This NAD+, after accepting the electrons, undergoes reduction and then form NADH. So, if you see from the link reaction, 3 products are obtained: carbon dioxide, NADH and acetyl-CoA. Important thing that we have to understand during link reaction is pyruvate, which has entered into mitochondria for further breakdown, undergoes breakdown during link reaction. The carbon that is removed during the process is released as carbon dioxide. The remaining 2 carbons, which are associated with the activated acetyl groups, can undergo breakdown only if they are transferred to TCA cycle. This is where coenzyme A helps. Coenzyme A accepts this acetyl group, becomes acetyl-CoA, and then transfer this acetyl group to the TCA cycle. After transferring the activated acetyl group to the TCA cycle, coenzyme A again comes back to link reaction to repeat the process. Similarly, energy that is obtained during the breakdown process, which remains with the electrons, are harvested by passing on these electrons to electron transport chain. So, NADH, after transferring the electrons into the electron transport chain, becomes oxidized, and these oxidized NAD+ again enters into the link reaction to accept more electrons. So, are you getting an idea about what happens during link reaction? The entire link reaction is catalyzed by an assembly of enzymes forming a multi-enzyme complex. Normally, multi-enzyme complex organizes a series of reactions and they do not allow their intermediates to diffuse away of the complex or to enter into other reaction. What I have drawn here is diagrammatic representation of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex of the bacterium E. coli. This particular complex of E. coli contains 60 polypeptides and it is larger than its ribosome. Pyruvate dehydrogenase complex contains multiple copies of 5 different enzymes, 3 of which are catalytic in nature and 2 of them are regulatory in nature. What I have drawn here represents 3 catalytic enzymes of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. The ones in green represents E1, in white color represents E2, and the one that is in pink color represents E3. Do you remember E1, E2 and E3 about which I have discussed just now? E1 represents pyruvate dehydrogenase that is responsible for oxidative decarboxylation. E2 is dihydrolipoyl transacetylase that transfers acetyl group to the coenzyme A. and E3 is dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase that is responsible for synthesis of NADH from NAD+ by transferring electrons to it. If you see the complex, dihydrolipoyl transacetylase forms the central core, whereas pyruvate dehydrogenase and dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase, they are present around the central core. The entire complex is regulated by regulating the enzyme E1. PDH kinase is pyruvate dehydrogenase kinase, which inactivates the enzyme E1 by adding phosphate. In such case, the complex becomes inactive. When there is energy requirement, in such cases, the complex should become active. So, there is dephosphorylation of E1 by PDH phosphatase so that PDH becomes active and the complex becomes active and the link reaction happens. Here I have listed out the enzymes and coenzymes that are present in pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. The three enzymes, you know about them already. What is new here is the coenzymes that are required for function of these enzymes. Thiamine pyrophosphate act as coenzyme for pyruvate dehydrogenase. Lipoamide and coenzyme A are coenzymes for dihydrolipoyl transacetylase. FAD and NAD+ act as coenzymes for dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase. Thiamine pyrophosphate, lipoamide and FAD, they are tightly bound to their enzymes, whereas coenzyme A and NAD+, they are not bound to their enzymes but are essential for enzyme activity. The two enzymes, that is PDH kinase and PDH phosphatase, though they require a number of coenzymes and cofactors, ATP and magnesium ions plays a major role. Here we are going to see how different enzymes and coenzymes of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex work together to bring out a link reaction. Though this appears very complex, it is easy to understand. First, we will see what are the things that we know already. E1 is pyruvate dehydrogenase and TPP is thiamine pyrophosphate, which is coenzyme of E1. E2 is dihydrolipoyl transacetylase. It has two coenzymes. One is lipoamide and the other one is coenzyme A. E3 is dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase. It has two coenzymes. One is FAD and the other one is NAD+. Apart from that, we also know the substrate for link reaction, that is pyruvic acid. And there are three products that are formed when link reaction happens. One is carbon dioxide, then there is formation of acetyl-CoA and NADH. So only few things are new in this. Now let us learn. When pyruvate enters into the reaction, there is decarboxylation and formation of hydroxyethyl intermediate. This hydroxyethyl intermediate binds with thiamine pyrophosphate of E1 and forms hydroxyethyl thiamine pyrophosphate. You remember, E1 involves in two processes. One is decarboxylation and the other one is oxidation. That is why it is known as oxidative decarboxylation. Yes. Now this hydroxyethyl groups undergoes oxidation and forms acetyl group. Once acetyl group formation happens, that acetyl is transferred to the coenzyme of E2 so that thiamine pyrophosphate becomes free to carry on with the process. Now this lipoamide of enzyme 2, it accepts acetyl groups and forms acetyl lipoamide. Can you see here? This bond breaks. There is formation of one sulfidyl group and then it accepts the acetyl and forms acetyl lipoamide. Now this acetyl lipoamide reacts with the coenzyme A. There is transfer of acetyl group from this compound to coenzyme A, resulting in the formation of acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA. Is it clear up to this? During this transfer, this lipoamide gets two sulfhydryl groups. That is, it has undergone reduction. Only if this undergoes oxidation, it can again involve itself in the reaction to accept acetyl group. Oxidation of reduced lipoamide is taken care by E3. The two hydrogen that are removed by this dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase are accepted by FAD and it becomes FADH2. As FAD is tightly bound to E3, it cannot transfer the electron to electron transport chain. So this FADH2 hand over the electrons to mobile electron carrier NAD+, which becomes NADH. Thereby, it can release electrons to the electron transport chain. Now, is it clear how oxidative decarboxylation, formation of acetyl-CoA and synthesis of NADH happens during link reaction? This is the net equation of link reaction. On the reactant side, there is pyruvate, which is a substrate. Coenzyme A and NAD+ enters into the reaction. The products that are formed are acetyl-CoA, carbon dioxide and NADH. For one molecule of glucose, two pyruvate molecules are formed. So the entire link reaction has to be multiplied by 2 because 2 times link reaction happens for every single glucose molecule. So 2 pyruvate, 2 coenzyme A and 2 NAD+ enters into the reaction. 2 acetyl-CoA, 2 carbon dioxide and 2 NADH are formed. If you observe, of the 6 carbons of the glucose, 2 are released during the process of link reaction. Acetyl-CoA is important because it can enter into Krebs cycle. Acetyl-CoA is not only formed by oxidation of carbohydrates, it is also formed by fats and proteins. Carbohydrates first get converted into glucose before they enter into respiration. Glucose is the ultimate respiratory substrate because upon oxidation, they can give rise to maximum number of ATP molecules. So glucose, after entering into the process of glycolysis, forms pyruvic acid. Then they enter into the link reaction and forms acetyl-CoA. Let us see how fats and proteins they enter into the process. Fats upon breakdown can give rise to glycerol and fatty acids. Glycerol can get converted into 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, so it enters half the way into the glycolysis, get itself converted into pyruvic acid, and through the link reaction it forms acetyl-CoA. Whereas fatty acids can directly give rise to acetyl-CoA. So this is how fats enter. Proteins, after activity of proteases, get converted into individual amino acids. These amino acids, based on their structure and type, they can give rise to pyruvic acid or acetyl-CoA, or sometimes they can even directly enter into the Krebs cycle. Except for few amino acids that can enter into the Krebs cycle directly, normally respiratory substrates get converted into acetyl-CoA, then only they enter into Krebs cycle. So acetyl-CoA is a common metabolite of respiration mediated breakdown of all the 3 respiratory substrates, namely carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Though acetyl-CoA, based on the need of the cell, can enter into synthesis of cholesterol, lipids, ketone bodies or into acetylation of proteins, whenever there is requirement of energy, they directly enter into TCA cycle. So this is all about link reaction. In the next class, we will move on to TCA cycle.